Welcome to the another video of Super Finding. In this video, we will come to know Ashkelon Dog Cemetery. About 50 kilometers south of Tel Aviv on the Mediterranean coast, near the ancient city of Ashkelon, archaeologists from the 1985 Leon Levi Expeditions were digging under a hill. When they unearthed over 1,000 canine skeletons and skeletal remains dating back to the 5th to 3rd centuries BC. This discovery was unprecedented, as nowhere in the ancient Near East had so many dog burials been found at a single site, and with no apparent reason for the burials. The discovery upset the curiosity of many scholars who have attempted to explain the motives behind the dog burials at Ashkelon. The dogs were interred in shallow, seemingly unmarked pits, positioned on their side with tail nestles between hind limbs. Many of these canine burial occurred beneath streets and in a narrow alleys, necessitating smaller pits that confined them closely. Some dogs were laid with tightly drawn together legs, resembling a tight postures before burial. It is noteworthy the absence of burial offerings, and the dogs showed no specific orientation in their placement. The skeletal remains exhibited no visible butcher mark, and there were minimal signs of violence. Analyzing the burial stratigraphy as well as considering the age and the sex of the dog at the time of death leads to the conclusions that these dogs did not perish in a singular catastrophic event. Instead, they seem to have died and been buried gradually over an extended period. American archaeologist Lawrence Tager said these dogs belonged to a Phoenicians healing cult in which they were trained to lick the wounds of sores of humans in exchange for a fee. He believed that these dogs were worshipped in a seaside temple located near the burial site, although no signs of the said temple has been found. As such, they were considered scarred and were given respectable burials when they died. There is also evidence of a possible cultic link between dogs and the Middle Eastern Astarte. Dogs, in many cases, especially puppies, were associated with many different cults and rituals in ancient Near Eastern culture. In ancient Egypt, dogs and other animals were associated with several deities. In Iran, dogs were especially revered and were considered by the Zoroastrians as the second most important being after humans. In ancient Greece, dogs were primarily associated with Asclepius, who, according to one mythological tradition, were washed over by a dog as a child. Dogs were involved in a healing rites in Asclepius. The absence of apparent physical evidence on the canine bones buried at Ashkelon does not prevent the possibility of ritualistic killing. In an ancient Near East, various methods of killing, such as poisoning and drowning, were employed that left no visible marks on the victim bone. The notable prevalence of puppies among the buried may imply a preference for the younger dogs, yet some scholars argue that high mortality rates among the young were not uncommon in the pre-veterinary settings. Some scholars rejected the theories that there was a dog cult and that the burials were religious. Instead, they claimed that the dogs were semi-feral urban dogs whose burial in one principal site was simply the result of local custom rather than any religious motivation. They proposed that the act of burial might have been all that truly mattered to the people of Ashkelon, and that the corpses and graves had no significance whatsoever. They also refused to call it a cemetery, arguing that the dogs were buried where there was space rather than a space being prepared to receive dogs. The goal was not to produce a cemetery or preserve the memory of the animals, but simply to inter. If you like this video, please comment, share and subscribe. Thank you very much.